Well, we're excited to get things underway, and our team has worked really hard to get to this point. There's a lot at stake, and when we want to make improvements on some of the things that we feel like we can be better at and put it to use. But we like our football team, we like our players, we like the makeup of our players. I thought they've had a good summer, and now we've got to put in the work this fall to continue to improve and get better, and try to keep as many guys healthy as we can along the way, and go out there and compete and try to win as many as we can.
Jeff, how different is a first day of fall camp now than even a couple years ago, and especially when you played? You've had them all summer, you've had them all year. How different is it to go out there in day one and kind of your expectations for what you get out of the first maybe couple practices of fall camp?
There's a lot of things that we're trying to accomplish. I think our guys do put in a lot of work year-round now, so easing into it slightly is what we've chosen to do. Now, that doesn't mean the length of it is less. We were out there for a while. We want to get acclimated to the heat. We want to be in the heat. Since we're just in helmets the first 2 days, by rule, the banging is not going on, so we're easing into that, making sure we get guys healthy through the first 2 days of practice, and that's important to us. And I think as we ramp this thing up, we'll start to kind of intensify things, and like I said, hopefully get in a lot of great work, but keep guys healthy and get ourselves ready to go. But it's changed, and it's because these guys they put in a lot of work year round, and keeping them healthy throughout the year and throughout camp is very important.
Jeff, as far as Miller's progression over the summer and what you've seen early on here, I guess what have you seen in his growth and development, and maybe what do you still want to see him improve on as we get closer to the start of the year?
I think he's put in a lot of great work. He wants to play well. He knows this year is important to him. He wants to play his best football, and I think between the time we got him until now, he's done everything we've asked and more, and that's great. And now that we're out there getting started, I think he's done a good job. And then, of course, as we ramp this thing up and get in a lot of 11-on-11 situations, full speed, that's when he's got to show the improvement and make good decisions, take care of the football, make big-time throws, escape every now and then and make plays, and we need to see that in practice. So that's things he's been working on, but until we kind of put himself in that situation, we won't see it for sure. But I have the utmost confidence that he'll do a great job with it, and he's taking everything very serious and to point, and I think he'll do a really good job.
Coach, you talked about getting acclimated to the heat. Can you kind of walk us through what goes through a decision to move practice up like today for concerns in the evening, and then with it still being as hot as it was, the extra stuff that you have to do to keep everybody safe?
Well, I think getting out in the heat is important, and most of our practices will be in the morning for the most part until we get school started. Then we'll go in the afternoon. Other than the heat index and those worries, we just moved it up, slightly, and it wasn't as hot, but it was good and humid and hot, and our guys got a lot of good work, and we'll do the same thing as we proceed forward at that time. And I think that's always important to be out there for a while, to learn how to control your body and keep it hydrated and not cramp up and not have to miss practice, and learn how to do those things. And until you're out there for a long period of time, you don't really get tested at that. So yes, we've worked out hard in the summer, but when you put pads on, it gets a little hotter, a little different, and we just want to make sure that we're smart, but yet we're still pushing the envelope on that.
Talk about any preseason magazine I looked at had Isaac Brown either as a first or second team All-American. Talk about what he brings to the table and how good he can be for you.
Well, I think we've talked about our running back situation, and it really came through for us last year, both Isaac and Duke. And that crew did a really good job. Earl Line did a really good job. The running game was very important to our success and vital as we move forward. And he's extremely talented. And I think, when you're in that situation, it's important to understand what it took to get you there. He's still a young running back, so him and all of our running backs need to understand the work still has to be put in. The grind has to be put in. You've got to block out all the noise, good and bad. And right now there's a lot of good. and continue to work hard. So that's what has to be proven on the practice field and on the game field. I have confidence him and Duke will do that, but they need to understand that if you want to take shortcuts, it normally doesn't pay off. So I just think they're extremely talented young men who want to be coached and want to help their team win, and I think they'll really help us this year once again.
Jeff, we talked about the secondary at the ACC kickoff, but since then you've had Tayon Holloway back to the roster. Can you just talk, I guess, about that process a little bit? And is he physically ready to go as you would expect him to be if he was normally, entering fall camp at this point, as well as an experienced guy in that secondary?
I think so. I think he's done what he needed to do to get back with us on the team, and he's a talented young player, and will continue to grow and mature, but definitely has the talent to really play really good football. I think our secondary has talent and has ability, and once again, putting them in the best position, allowing them to play aggressive, but at the same time not give up big plays is the dynamic that you have to perfect as a coach, and we want to get that done. But I think we have very capable players in the secondary, and if we can keep most of them healthy, I expect them to play very well.
Coach, last season you came in, you lost the last 2 or 3 games, the Kentucky game and the bowl game. This year you come in on a win streak. Is there a difference in mindset when you have a little bit of momentum coming off the season before?
Well, it was a better finish without question, and we were happy to finish the season strong on a good note with some victories and improved play in a lot of areas. And we've got to carry that over and learn from those mistakes we made in our 4 losses. And at the same time, we probably had about 4 wins that were by less than a touchdown too. So how can we make sure that we play more consistent football the entire game and year-round is very important as we want to progress, and if we want to play at a high level and compete against the very best at the end. So that's our goal. We've taken it very seriously as coaches as far as studying it, trying to improve it, trying to have answers, trying to do things to help us win. Defensively, giving up big plays, big pass plays, way too many of those happen. We got to be better against the pass, especially the big plays. We've been pretty good against the run, but that still has to continue as well. On offense, short yardage situations, we've got to be more consistent and convert on those and continue to not turn the ball over and run the ball successful and throw some deep shots to get some easy score, and then being consistent on special teams. But, we've identified quite a few of those weaknesses. Once again, even with on the defense side, getting lined up, getting set, making it as simple as we can so that we can just go out there and play. All those things have been talked about and hashed out over and over again, and hopefully we have a good plan in all 3 segments of our football team to play well.
Jeff, you mentioned a minute ago about the offensive line. You had to replace some guys there through graduation and whatnot. Is that the biggest part of the rebuild is in the offensive line, you think, or is it somewhere else?
Well, that's an important piece no matter what's going on. We did lose some guys, but I feel confident that we have a good nucleus of guys coming back, a good nucleus of some additions we've added to the team that have proven that they can play football for us, and we expect to have depth there once again. And it's important to do that. We lost a few guys last year, but other guys stepped in and did a good job, and Coach Owens and the crew have done a really good job with our offensive line getting them ready to go. So I expect those guys to play well. Now, it's play calling, it's execution by the quarterback, it's getting the ball out, it's being balanced. All those things tie in to helping the offensive line look good. So we've got to make sure we're doing that as well. And as you don't ask the quarterback to throw the ball every down in 5 wideout sets, you've got to have some balance, and you've got to make sure that we're taking care of them and making sure that they can come off the ball some. They can strike and not have to pass protect all game long. And even if you're down some, you can't just get too pass happy where they're just backpedaling and trying to pass protect, because that's not fair to them. So trying to maneuver that is what's talked about by me and our staff a lot, and making sure that we have a good balance to make sure that they can play very successful.
Obviously, defense was a big talk last year, and just a lot of miscues, communication issues, that sort of thing. It's a lot of turnover this year. having to replace starters. What advantages, if any, are there to having so many new pieces and maybe not having to rewire things but just teach it the first time?
Well, I do think the few starters we have back on defense, I expect them to play very well, and they've been our best players to date. And they've learned from our mistakes, both as players and coaches, and how that we got to improve on that. We have some new additions, and yes, they're not aware of some of the things that have happened before, other than watching it on film and learning from it and being it talked about. So I think it's a good nucleus of hungry new pieces that want to come in and compete, that are challenging our guys, and then some veterans that have been here and know this is how it's done, and we've played against these guys, and we've got a good feel, and that shows up quite a bit, the experience factor of those certain guys. So I feel confident that we'll play well, and I want all of our segments to expect to play well every week.
Is there anything special or significant about a first practice? I know you got a lot of practices before the first game, but this one, is there anything that you look for in particular, any way that you approach it, or is it just another workout?
Believe it or not, the first practice is talked about way more than you would even think, and debated, and some of the coaches disagree with me, and we go back and forth. But the key for me is because I make the ultimate decision, is getting out there on the field for a good long period of time. Running drills, running ball plays. The rules say the first 2 days have to be in helmets. So we've gone against each other competitively before, and we've had injuries. So we've kind of backed off on the good on good against each other the first 2 days of no helmeted practice, which makes it seem like it's not as juiced up. But we get a lot of work in, and we get a lot of ball plays in, and sometimes you don't have to do all that. So we'll ease into that aspect. And sometimes as a coach, you're like, oh, that's kind of boring, but it's really not boring. It's there's a lot of stuff we got accomplished. Being out there and for 2+ hours is important. Staying locked in and focused, and teaching your body how to stay hydrated and not cramp up and have to miss a beat is important. And concentrating while you're doing that. So it's probably a little lesser than we'd like to get after it, but it's a long camp, and we've got to make sure that we once we get the shells and the full pads on, we'll pick things up quite a bit.
Last week you talked about TJ Quinn at kickoff as being one who's going to have to set the tone defensively. Obviously kind of a quieter guy. How have you seen him just try to be more vocal and talk, kind of put you in mind from Ashton a little bit, where they're more reserved but have to talk more?
Well, I think last year our linebacking core was inexperienced. This year they're experienced, which is good. So you have TJ Quinn, who has played a lot of football, and he's had a few mistakes here and there. He's learned from it. He continues to get better and better every week. We ask him to play maybe 2 positions for us on the inside, and he'll communicate, and he'll be one that probably has a earpiece in his helmet that's got to communicate some calls and some things of what we're doing. And I think he knows that he's got to step up and be a leader, and I think he'll do a good job. We want him to lead in his natural way. Antonio Watts has great experience. He's kind of that outside backer / nickel. We call it a star, but he kind of can do both. He's had a great camp. He's got he won the job last year. He shows up all the time, making plays, being in the right position, understanding what we're doing. He leads more by example too, but he'll communicate when he has to. Stanquan Clark has been injured, and we're just getting him back healthy. He showed up last year and did a good job. We expect him to play well, and he has as much potential as anybody. We got Caleb Perry as an addition from Tennessee that has 1 year left, kind of in the same situation as Miller Moss, where he wants to make it count. He's from the state of Kentucky. He is a vocal leader, and he's well liked. He's got a great personality, and he understands football. He's really smart, and I think he'll help. Then you got T.J. Capers coming along that continues to get better and better, and then some young guys. So I think it's a good nucleus. We're not going to ask anybody to lead in a way they're not comfortable with, but yes, you have to speak up and know when to do that and communicate and talking throughout the course of the game while the plays going on, while you're getting lined up and set on the sideline is vital to success. So they got to make sure that they continue to do a good job with that.
Jeff, noticed that Sean Boykins was working with the running backs instead of the wide receivers today. Is that a shift that you're looking at making positionally, or what was the thought behind that?
Well, Sean is a young man that he's he's got a strong body. He could play the slot receiver for us, play receiver position. He's kind of good with the ball in his hands. So as we get going in camp, for example, Colin Lacey has some traits like that as well, meaning Colin will play receiver inside and outside, but even in the bowl game, we put him in the backfield some, and he made a lot of plays. And it doesn't have to be a whole big package, but a small package where we're just going to make sure he gets the ball in his hands. Sean, we want to make sure we have different ways to maybe just kind of get the ball in his hands. So we're going to teach him the running back position a little bit, maybe overemphasize that for a while, and then bring that back where he continues to do both, and see if we can find a way to get him on the field more.
Jeff, you mentioned some of those communications from last year, especially on the defense, partially because of having some issues with the in-helmet comms. Have you guys, over the course of this offseason and leading into fall camp, found a way to kind of streamline those, or was it just a matter of just getting better at what you guys were already doing?
Well, we went through some hiccups for sure, and as I like to kind of study it ourselves and call around and ask other teams how they're doing it. There's some other teams that went through hiccups as well. Obviously, ours are notable because we watch our games. But I think we were able to adjust pretty good after the few hiccups we had. And we kind of have the system down now. And it is a little different than how you use it on offense with the college game and the speed of the game. So you have to really be strategic and have a plan put together. And I think we understand that way better now, and that kind of morphed into midway through the season into what we're doing now, and then trying to improve on that. So, having the piece, if teams are huddling, can you use it to call plays and talk quite a bit? Yes. If teams are not huddling, then you've got to, I don't want to give all the secrets away, get the call in, and sometimes maybe just use it to help the linebacker if you see something as a coach, or if you can give a quick reminder, but it can't be too much talk. I know that I have the piece on offense, and even our quarterback has told me throughout the season last year, hey, sometimes you're talking to me too much. And of course, I'll tell him, you shut your mouth. I'll talk to you most. No, I'm just teasing. I understand that. Yeah, you know what? I can maybe talk too much and it gets muddied, and so you got to be a little more concise and not over talk. To be quite honest with you, so you just got to. It sounds easy, but sometimes it can be a little. It's loud. The noise is there. Sometimes it's a little bit muffed. So you got to be clear. You got to be short. You got to be concise, and then sometimes you got to just let them play ball. So having that right mix, we went through a few things, especially on defense, to get better at it. And I think now we have a better system that we're going to work all fall camp, which started today, so that we have it down as well as we can for the first game. Well, it's a good question. I think we have a good nucleus in a team where we get together and talk on those issues. And, of course, now Vince is right in the thick of that with us and has a good understanding with that as well, and can help us navigate, with the crew that we have that are doing that, which I like the small team we have. And we don't really include the assistant coaches in that team. They're going to coach ball and deal with that, and if there's an issue with that, they bring it to us. And because it can get too complicated with too many voices are in there. But as far as how we handle a situation, I think the ref share has kicked in. There's a method that is more unified now that most teams have to use, which I think is good. Of course, the side NIL piece, we'll see where that goes and how they regulate it. I'm for all the regulations you can get and all the rules and structure that you possibly can. And if you're asking me, I'm all for at some point, if this doesn't work the way we want, they become employees like the NFL, and we proceed on. There's a reason that system has worked, so to me that's the easiest, but whether we get to that, I don't know. But I do think they're trying to improve the system, and I'm all for trying to get it done. And I think our team we have right now, works really well together, and I think we do a really good job, managing that. And it does take a lot of time, and it takes a lot of discussions and a lot of organization, and I like the team we have.
Talking kind of about that team you have to help with the revenue sharing stuff, what does collaboration look like, I guess, between you and Vince and then any other folks kind of in the athletic department or legal folks adjacent to the athletic department trying to work through all of that stuff?
Well, it's really good. Myself, our chief of staff, my brother Greg, Pete Nocta, our director of recruiting, Vince Morrow, and then we've got Dan Furman with our collective, Michael Dudas, who's an athletic director. Of course, Josh is there. We have a legal team as well, and that's kind of the main nucleus of people that are dealing with those situations. And we talk every situation through, and do the best job we can to be as fair as we can to everyone. But I feel confident that we've been doing this for a while. The things that are happening now are all trying to improve it and make it better. So I think in the end, we'll be able to figure this thing out in college football, and where that goes, I don't know. But I think our team here does a really good job.